Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, and I just decided to go ahead and do a stream this morning. I'm really excited about this new Xbox ROG Ally that's going to be released, but man, they really effed up the marketing when it comes to it. And picture is about to come in live soon. And let's go ahead and get started. Feel free to ask any questions that you would like during this live, especially if you're building a PC or if you're excited for the upcoming sales that are coming up. Hi, I'm Chris Mizo. Welcome to the channel. If you're thinking about doing a PC build, feel free to ask any of the questions that you would like to know, especially when building a PC. Now we have Amazon's big deals coming up on Prime Day, which more than likely will probably end up going live. I'll probably make a side video on it anyway, just to keep notes of everything that is going out there, especially for those who wants to start a new build. Especially, you've seen how expensive consoles can be getting here. Now, the one part is Xbox wants to charge for Game Pass about $30 a month. So really, when you think about it, it's about $360 a year. And you probably heard the joke already as it is when it comes to the gaming side about the Xbox 360. And this isn't the Xbox 360 that everybody wanted. Everybody wanted it some sort of remaster, but unfortunately, I don't think they got the memo. Instead, they took $360 and charged annually for everybody to pay each year. Otherwise, you can't enjoy their great titles such as Black Ops 7 once that releases in November. Now, I am looking forward to Battlefield 6. I know many of you are. And make sure to have your TPM 2.0 on when it does happen. If you are not sure if you have TPM 2.0 on your system, all you have to do is just make sure you have Windows 11. And more than likely that's the case that you have it. But if you have a pre-built or if you bought it off of somebody, always just double check. Go into the RUM command and check if you do have TPM through there. Or you could just go to the BIOS and simply check it, because you will need to have it enabled, especially if you're going to be gaming on something like Battlefield 6, and Black Ops 7 also requires it. But what's the point of Black Ops 6, or not 6, but 7? What's the point of Black Ops 7 if you already have hackers on there as it is, even with TPM 2.0? Tell me how that makes sense. Now, let me go ahead and get this chat box up and start it. Make sure I got it working up properly. And hopefully everybody has a great Sunday so far. Hopefully your weekend has been really excellent for the most part. What's up, Wasabi? Yes, live on a Sunday, right? Right now I'm just trying to get my chat box up and working here, as it seems that, there we go. Beautiful. Think we got it up and running. Yes, live on a Sunday. I just decided to just go on live. I just wasn't in the mood for it. I really wanted to express some feelings I had about this whole Xbox problem. And for anybody that is thinking about going to PC, the perfect way to start off on a PC, if you just want to kind of get a taste of it, or even just go ahead and purchase the ROG Ally for, just say, like, even just like for a few days and then return it, just to see how you like it. That way you kind of get a taste of what the PC world's like, because then you don't really have to rely on things like Game Pass. You'll end up using Steam a whole lot more, and maybe that's the whole plan. Maybe Xbox does want Game Pass to finally end. Maybe they feel like they created a monster, so the only way to get everybody off of it is charge $30 a month. But that would be kind of crazy and pretty much suicide for them, because they risk more people going into buying PCs or building custom PCs, if more than anything. What's up, Casey? Thanks, Sambra. Much love to you too, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Great to hear that you're in the mood for it. Just done watching Formula One Singapore's race. Oh, how was it? Was it excellent? I bet it was nonstop action. It's pretty crazy because in Miami they do have the, I'm sure you're familiar with it, they also have the Formula One down here, or the Grand Prix, and they usually like shut down like certain parts of the city, or they'll do it by the stadium. But I do have to say, if you are thinking of building a PC, especially if you're just like leaving this whole Xbox era, 100% get it, and I'm sure 100% of other people understand how you're feeling, because it's just going to be quite ridiculous if you choose to stay into the whole Xbox consoles, because from what we're hearing, that the next generation of Xbox consoles could be just as expensive. In fact, they're saying that it could be up to $1,000. If you go ahead and use, say, Steam client, you'll see that sure, you have to pay for your games. It's not going to be like something that you pay per month. NVIDIA also has their version of it too, to where you can play their games for, again, I think theirs is like about like $20 to $30 a month. But you don't really need any system to do that. You'll go onto the cloud. But again, that's something I wouldn't recommend. You would need a high-speed internet connection to really enjoy it. And they're just phasing in with the whole RTX 4090s. You'll be practically gaming on if you pay, like, say, $20 or $30 a month, I think it is. But, oh, really? It was boring? It's not. That's a shame. I would hope it would be a lot more fun. I gotta say, the best parts though, like especially if you guys live around like in Italy, I'm sure you guys have it too. Like is going by the mountain passes. I always enjoy driving through the mountain passes, especially if you have a sports car, to be able to go ahead and do that. And just for anybody out there, just for note, who knows who follows me as what I'm doing gaming wise, on Elden Ring, I'm still stuck on the Godskin Noble. So just yesterday, I was really close on beating it, and then I just finally found the Mimic tier, and I was looking for that for a while. And the funny thing is, once I got it, now I'm going back and I'm going to be facing the Godskin once again, and hopefully I can finally beat him, because I got him down really close. I just hate when he does that whole belly roll thing. Like once you beat the first part, and this is the Godskins in the cave, so I can beat him in the first form, which is like that skinny Godskin Noble, and then once he turns into the big guy, then usually it's a wrap. Usually by the time he gets like the half health, he'll start doing that whole rolling thing, which is pretty annoying. So I'm sure next-gen consoles will be difficult to compete with price and performance level, though. The Series X had 6700 XT performance level, and beating it with $500 was almost impossible. But anyway, just to add a comment about the topic, I personally don't think handhelds are worth it. They are too expensive to play high graphics video games. Maybe Metroidvania indies, yes. I could see that. I could see the reasoning why some people can really feel a bit skeptical about having handheld consoles. I know it's going to be quite a bit different. It isn't quite like really like a PC, but it's almost like a PC. You can get like a PC-like experience just to get an idea of what it's like to game on a PC. Now, there's a lot of titles you can play, but the thing is, when you do play on handheld, you'll end up playing a lot of more minimum titles, or the minimum requirements in order to enjoy the game. Now, speaking on that whole Xbox side, it's again rumored that this new console, when they do release it, when they have their new upcoming Xbox, it's supposed to be even up to like $1,000. And if that's the case, then you could easily build a PC. So really, when you think about it, and I'm glad that Wasabi brought up the whole handheld thing, because it's almost like kind of like the same formula that they use. And the whole thing is, if you get a console, that's like $1,000, and then plus if you want to get an extra controller, and just say for argument's sake, you could probably use your Xbox Series X controller, you could just easily just transfer it over. Okay, that's great. You can transfer that over. You don't have to spend an extra $60-$70 on a controller, but you still also have to still pay for the titles that will come onto the console. And then on top of it, you have to pay more than likely a new accessory or something that they'll more than likely come out with, which is going to easily cost maybe like $100 or $200. And then the same when it comes to their expansion pack, because you know they're not going to let you update their SSD. But I hope they do for $1,000. And then on top of it, you're paying $360 a year to play on Xbox. So, but anyway, just to add to comment about Too much to compromise for €1,000. Plus, the new Lenovo Legion Go is above €1,000, right? There's so many pre-orders that they have to cancel most of them, and I don't think it's worth it. If you want to buy a handheld OLED, yeah, I do agree. I feel Nintendo is just very good at making their games, and it's pretty astounding. So everybody out there could probably take a guess at how much Nintendo already charges for their games. And have you ever seen any of their Nintendo titles really go on sale? I mean, like actual sale, like 50% off. Like, for example, their titles such as, like if you're going to play like Mario Party, Mario Kart, or if you're going to play like their new Donkey King, or if you're going to play any of their Pokemon titles, Super Smash Brothers, any of their titles, you never see that the price drops down. And in fact, they keep it at like a pretty high margin. It's like at $60 to play their game. But more than likely now in their new console, you can pay between about $60 to $80 depending on what type of game that you pick up. Now, they're great at making their games because they know that their titles are great. They're always going to be, they won't disappoint you. They never really do. And that's why they can charge so much, and they're great at what they do. That's why they know when they came out with the Nintendo Switch 2 that they know that they can charge $500, even though the specifications are a bit inferior compared to, especially for today's standards, because practically what a Nintendo Switch 2 is a 3060, just a SoC version of it, where it's kind of customized for the Switch 2. You won't notice a dramatic increase in graphics, but the titles are enjoyable and much more of a affordable handheld. Now, when it comes to the Lenovo Go 2, it does feature the Z2 Extreme. And the Z2 Extreme is obviously a very strong SoC that can power up great games, such as a game, as I mentioned earlier. I was playing Elden Ring you could play at 60 frames on a Z1 Extreme. So just imagine how much more power the Z2 can have. But the ridiculous part is how much it's going to cost if you do go get a Lenovo Go 2. If you get a Lenovo Go 2 for a OLED version, 8.8 screen, I think it's about 2 terabytes in storage, and you can pay up to, get this is in USD. I'm just going to say it because I can tell you the USD price for it. It's going to be 1,400 USD for that handheld console, or for that handheld PC, when you can just easily build a custom PC, which can by far exceed it, like easily, with no problem. You could easily build a PC for $1,500. Some of you might argue that we can't, but just yesterday we just went on PC Parts Picker, and we actually built a PC with a 9070 XT with under $1,300. So why not build a PC? It'll last you much longer. It can last you between 5 to 6 years. So, what's up, Peckish? So the GPD Win 5 is what the Legion 2 should have been. I agree. GP2 Win it's an amazing console because it uses the AMD. I think it's the 370. It uses the 370 AI. But again, it's very expensive. It's $2,500 for it. $1K for a console plus monthly fees plus the cost of the games. I'll stick to PC. Hello. So can you give me an opinion on a PC that has i7 1200K? So you're talking about the 12700K paired with the 5060 with 2 terabytes. That's actually it's a good combination together. I always like Alder Lake. Alder Lake has never given any type of issues. It's not like the 13th and 14th gen where you have to worry about the voltage problems when it comes to the BIOS. Now, if anybody does have the 13th and 14th gen, they can tell you that it's good to update your BIOS. If you do, then that will avoid any of those troubles. So if you do plan on, say, like pushing up to that generation like Raptor Lake or Raptor Lake Refresh, just make sure to update the BIOS. But on Alder Lake, it's a wonderful chipset. It's a wonderful processor. Whether if you get the 12700K or if you choose to get the 700KF, which is perfectly fine because you already have a graphics card. You might save a little bit more money if you go KF. But if it's really the same price, it doesn't matter. It's good to always have a backup backup videos just in case if your video card does end up failing for some weird reason. But that combination will work. You'll utilize the PCI Express 5 that you will be using out that graphics card. And you shouldn't experience really any issues. I just recommend a minimum of 32 gigabytes, especially today's standards. 16 gigabytes is no longer the minimum standard. 32 is now the minimum. So, now I'll let you just save money, bite the bullet, and get yourself $1,500 PC, and you'll be fine. Moving forward, every handheld that plays AAA titles should have AI Max 395. It's a 4060 level of performance. Absolutely, and it's highly competitive. Imagine all the titles that you can really play. Especially that you can play games such as Spider-Man 2. Or you can play games such as like really graphical demanding games. As I know we're not all a fan of it, but Starfield. You can manage to play that with no issue. Cyberpunk 2077 would be great. Especially because the good thing is, when you do use AMD system, you can take advantage of FSR 4. And you can take advantage of the fidelity graphics. You can take advantage of the AFMF2, which is their newer motion flow system. And the best part about it is it's a lot less blurry, because if you go into their older systems, and if you tried FSR before, FSR isn't really all that clear, especially when it's in the 3rd generation. If you max it out, it's gonna look kind of like a colored blob, because everything's almost looks like you're looking at something that's at a 480 display compared to something that should be in HD or 4K. FSR 4 has certainly improved it quite a bit. The sharpness around the lines are much better. The shadows aren't as drastic. And when it comes to the contrast, it isn't also as drastic as well. So, what's up, Reaper? FrameGen is also making iGPUs push up to 100 frames, but it's only good for single player titles. Absolutely. A lot of single player titles, you could be able to easily do that. And one thing I have to say, when it comes to handheld PCs specifically, is on the topic of it, one of the main things that handheld PCs should certainly do, they should make sure that the controllers are 100% more comfortable than playing on something like a Nintendo Switch 2, because you have to be able to want to sell the product. To sell that product, you want to make sure that it actually feels like that you're on a controller. If they can just master that to that point, then it would sell so much more on top of it. And plus, the compatibility with the titles should be much more automatic. If they do this correctly, if they make Microsoft the whole Xbox Windows version of it, if they do that well, then they could certainly optimize the games automatically into depending on what you want to play. No matter what type of titles that you want to play, it should be able to automatically optimize it. It wouldn't be hard, because when you think about it, AMD has their version of, say, Adrenaline software, and NVIDIA obviously has theirs. And this is what's going to be really exciting. The fact that NVIDIA is going to be teaming up with Intel, and they want to create their own SoC specifically for items such as laptops, items such as handhelds. They want to produce this. So it's going to also make AMD feel a little bit more pressure in order to create a better processor on top of it, which is going to be interesting to see, because it's going to bring up the competition and whoever can optimize the system better. Because just like SteamOS, the reason why it was so successful is because when you really think about it, there's not really too much you really have to tinker with when you go onto SteamOS, because you have the big picture mode. Once you're in big picture mode, it automatically scales down to your handheld console, and then it automatically sets the setting for it to play properly. There's not really as much settings to mess with compared to a Windows handheld PC console. So I'm really curious to see what Microsoft wants to introduce when it comes to the whole Xbox OS, which is the Xbox version, and we'll find that out when the ASUS ROG Ally X Xbox edition. I finally said it. I know it's a long title, but when that comes out, that's a good indication to see where how well that OS really will hold up compared to something like SteamOS. So I'm sure Switch 2 emulation is already in pop. I bet it is. I wouldn't be surprised. But the thing is, you know what I really don't like about the Switch 2 on the topic of Nintendo is the fact that you're unable to homebrew. You're not able to emulate anything on there or play any type of indie games. All the titles that you play on Nintendo Switch 2, you have to purchase either from Nintendo or from the Nintendo eShop, and that's it. You can't modify it at all, because if you do, they could brick your console, and they have every right to, because the thing is, when you hit the agree button, when you go through the agreement of terms or you go through their TOS and you accept it, then you're pretty much saying, okay, I'm okay with you bricking my console if I homebrew it. And that's what happened. And there's quite a few people who experienced it. And there's even one person who ended up selling a Nintendo Switch 2 because they just didn't want it anymore. They felt like it was exactly the same as their Nintendo Switch. So they ended up selling their Switch 2. And when the second owner purchased it and he hooked it up to his TV, put his account in, immediately, just like that, got bricked. You know why? Because they thought that it was like attempted to be like someone was attempting to hack it, and because of that, they bricked the console. So you can't really sell it to somebody else, and otherwise it can cause issues. Now that's something that Nintendo certainly has to fix. So, next, MSI Claw powered by Intel NVIDIA. I did see that because the first generation was Meteor Lake, same, not really a Meteor Lake, but it was kind of like a version of it. And then the second was Meteor Lake. The third version is based on the Z2 Extreme, which is the wild part is they try to market it, but it doesn't get marketed enough. And the MSI Claw, the third version of it, where it has the Z2 Extreme, it's been released for a while. It's released before the Lenovo Go 2. It's obvious because it's not out yet. The Ally Z2, it's still not out yet. But the MSI Claw is out there, and I hear it's really competitive spec-wise. But that is a great option. I could see them going Intel NVIDIA because, especially if they go 4th generation, they might as well, right? They already tried Intel twice, so why not just go again? Especially with the NVIDIA combination. And the NVIDIA actually said their numbers, which is pretty insane. They expected a high number of sales as soon as they started working with Intel and working on doing SoCs for laptops and handhelds. That could certainly be done. Now, so also Nintendo literally allowed a Switch emulator to stay on the Google Play Store, but attack you. Yeah, right? Makes absolutely no sense. So, Chris, I have an interesting question. Do you think if this merge between Intel and NVIDIA happens before both Xbox and PlayStation committing to AMD, do you think they would have hesitated to go with AMD? Now, that is a great question to ask. Because of that situation, this is a very unique situation. I'm pretty certain. I am pretty much certain for both Microsoft and for AMD, for Microsoft and also for Sony. I'm pretty certain that they signed contracts already for the next gen, because I'm pretty sure that they already started developing and it's already in the backgrounds, because there's quite a bit of rumors to the next generation consoles already. But I can say if there is no contract between AMD, could it be possible that they are going to be willing to work with, say, Intel and NVIDIA? It's a high possibility, especially it depends on what they show, especially after what type of, how much better performance can they really get out of AMD? How much would they really sell their SoC for? Would it be a lot more expensive or would it be cheaper? It all really depends on where they put it, because we both know that NVIDIA likes to charge for their product. They really do. They know that because it has the NVIDIA name, that they're going to sell it well, just like the RTX 50 series. So, but also, thinking of it, maybe consoles could become more PC-like, meaning maybe there will be two different variations that they could come out with, because they could always do that. They could always follow the contract with AMD and also come out with a alternate system, maybe like a Xbox NVIDIA version and a Sony NVIDIA version for maybe an extra like $50 or $100 to enjoy NVIDIA graphics and ray tracing or even path tracing. That could be a possibility as well. What would you guys think of that? Like if they came out with two different versions of consoles, at that point it's almost like just like comparing a PC. So my PC is so unoptimized right now, but it's not bottlenecking at 4K, so I'm cool with it. A 5080 and a 50. Yeah, it's funny. That's quite a combination too, Casey. 5080 with a 5700X. I'm sure you're still getting the max out of titles. It's funny because a lot of titles still don't really require like that high of a CPU. Even like if you look at the Battlefield 6 requirements, they still even recommend I think it's like what was it? Like a 3600, I think that was the minimum that they recommend. Maybe even a shorter, like even a generation before, maybe even possibly. But it's certain games you can get away with it for certain. The ones I would be personally scared of, where I would love to test on, like especially if it comes, say, to the Ryzen 5000 series, is toward the games that have Unreal Engine 5, such as Metal Gear Snake Eater, or games such as the new Silent Hill, or games such as there's another game that's right, Borderlands 4. I'm curious to see how well that would handle it. Have you tried those games, and what is the usage, out of curiosity, if you have? So, I think if there was no contract signed with AMD, one of the two would have gone to Intel or NVIDIA architecture and processors. Yes, I think it's a possibility. I could see Xbox doing it. I could see Microsoft doing it, because if you guys been like catching up on like the whole situation, it sounds like Microsoft's really excited with this whole Intel and NVIDIA deal. And if they're really excited about it, it sounds like they're willing to invest. So if they're willing to invest in them, I can see them saying like, hey, let's do a new Xbox console this way. I'm really curious to see like the direction that they choose to go. And the reason being is because the direction that they are going with Microsoft, especially with the outrage with the community about charging $30 a month, I'm still blown away that some people feel like it's not that bad of a deal. That some people think it's still a great deal compared to if you just get a PC where you can just game for free. But anyway, like it seems like Microsoft would definitely be the one. Sony, I'm a bit questionable about it. I wonder if Sony would do it. Do you think Sony would end up going to the dark side? Would they end up going Intel, NVIDIA, or would they choose to stick with AMD? Now, have you spoken about FSR 4 topic yet? Yes, we actually just spoke on it just slightly. We just spoke about that FSR 4 just on live. So far, there isn't a ton of games that really have quite a bit of support for it. But certainly, I will be testing it once we do this next upcoming build, Project Ninja, or it's going to be another project, depending. And I'm just trying to kind of figure around what type of PC parts we should really start with. Now, with Project Ninja, of course, we want it to be stealthed out. We have an idea that we want to do Noctua fans to make it like dead silent, which would be really sick. And we want to go with pretty much like no RGBs inside of this PC. So really carefully picking and talking with different vendors and brands to kind of get all the parts together. And once we do, we'll definitely go take a trip to Micro Center and figure that side out. And once we do, more than likely it's going to involve like an AMD GPU, and we could definitely experiment with FSR 4 a bit more. And hopefully there will be a bit more titles, because unfortunately the 9070 XT has already been shipped out to a friend who has a problem with his PC because he didn't have TPM 1. He was like on TPM 1.3, I think it was. And so unfortunately he couldn't be able to game on things like Battlefield 6. So now he's going to be able to game with that new system with the Sapphire RX 9070 XT, which will be great for him. So after the stream, I want to test out my RX 7700 XT with Crysis 1. Since I bought the Crysis Trilogy, absolutely, yeah, you got to try it out, see how well it plays with it. Did you get the whole Crysis remastered as well with it? Out of curiosity? Because I'm curious about that too. Now, you know what else is interesting too? Is the fact that when it comes to Intel, they've been speaking a lot about Panther Lake, and it seems like, now this is just a rumor that's been going on, and it's supposed to have the next generation of XeSS3. So if that's the case, that when they come out with the new Panther Lake, that it's supposed to have up to 12 cores of GPU integrated with it. Now, it has nothing to do with NVIDIA or nothing. This is specifically on their desktop side. And it seems like so far they have a 16-core processor that they're currently working on, from what it seems like. And we'll see how well it turns out. I'm curious how 18A is going to be, because they promise it's going to be very competitive against the 2nm process, against TSMC and AMD eventually. But we're going to see how that turns out. And also, when it comes to the AMD side, we're certainly more than likely to expect it. And of course, anybody is free to ask questions about it, especially if you want to know anything about CES 2026, which I'll throw in here, is that we'll go to the AMD press conference, or the AMD conference when it happens. And hopefully we get some really good information. There's rumors of RDNA 5 being shown, but hopefully that's true. We can certainly know that they are going to talk about Ryzen 10,000 series, or if they're going to rename the series, who knows. But more than likely we'll hear about that and the next generation of Zen 6, which is going to be quite exciting. I'm curious but from what I'm hearing, it's going to be quite a IPC boost from what I see, like almost up like the 10 to 15%. And it's also supposed to be, and hopefully they do it, is instead of just using a single stack CCD, that they'll actually stack on all their CCDs, which will be excellent. So even phones are now emulating up to Switch games. I wouldn't spend my money on a handheld. If I were to play while I'm out, I'm just not about to emulate on my phone. No, I get it. It's and the thing is, of course, emulating. It's been out for quite a while, which is insane. It's been out like I can say on Android devices for the longest, because I remember one of the first Android devices that I had, like one of the first smartphones, if anybody had it, was the HTC Evo. And when it came to that cell phone, you were able to emulate games like PSX games, like PlayStation games, and you were able to play Nintendo 64 games. And I would just hook up a Bluetooth controller and play it, instead of playing on the phone itself with the touchscreen controllers, because that just sucks compared to actually using a real controller. But the good thing is now it seems like it's more of it's getting developed a lot more, especially that it's also both on Android and both on the iOS as well, which has just like recently been okay, like for the last year. And I gotta say, for Nintendo, I don't know if you guys heard about this whole Nintendo case too. It's kind of funny. And in Costa Rica, there's this grocery store. And at this grocery store, it's called Super Mario. So, we all know how Nintendo feels about if you use any names in their likeness. They ended up like throwing them a cease and desist letter. So you can't use this name anymore. It's Super Mario. That belongs to us. This is Nintendo's name. So they refused. They said, no, we're going to keep using it. So they ended up suing this grocery store. And believe it or not, this grocery store actually won a lawsuit. And the reason being was that Super Mario was actually, their name, Super Mario, for that grocery store, was actually out before their Mario titles. So it was a generational store that's been out for as long as, who knows, like probably in the 1900s. But just to think that they ended up losing that lawsuit. But it would be pretty funny if they ended up countersuing them, because now they know they can win the case. So, what's up, guys? What's up, Will Baggins? What's up, Slim Shady? What UPS brand would you recommend me to use to back up the PC, just in case of a blackout? Now, when it comes to, I would say Belkin makes some great ones. They're excellent ones to get, I would say. They've been trusted for a long time in the industry. And there's another one I can think of too, which is like right off the top of my head. When I do, I will certainly name it. Now, will enabling TPM 2.0 negatively impact my games that don't require it? Do we have to turn it on and off, or leave it? More than likely, just leave it on, as always. If you have Windows 11, more than likely that's an indication that you already have TPM 2.0. Now, if you're not sure, because sometimes people will install Windows 11 without TPM, which is definitely possible because they do it through like Rufus, where they install the OS. And if that's the case, then it's going to be good to enable it. Now, it shouldn't affect gameplay at all. It's more if it does affect gameplay now, like if you're thinking that it does, it's more than likely going to be the OS that you're probably not liking, which is now Windows 11 currently, especially this month is, or I shouldn't say Windows 11, but Microsoft is going to be ending their updates for Windows 10. So for Windows 10, it's going to, like anybody on it right now, it's going to stop updates, I think, on the 28th. So everything is moving into Windows 11 by the 29th of October, pretty much. So, yeah, the Super Mario... yeah. Isn't that crazy? What's up, Takuma? Glad to see you here. You know what's funny? I really thought about doing another stream since you mentioned it yesterday. Like, oh, I thought you were doing another stream, so I just figured I'd do another stream today. Just kind of really excited and just wanted to share some thoughts about everything that's currently going on, especially for anybody that's thinking about switching over to PC. And anybody that's coming in and is thinking about switching to PC, you should just go ahead and do it. Talk to the great guys in Discord. If you're not part of the Discord server already, please join us. It's down in the description box down below. You guys would certainly love it. If you're liking this stream so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel for more, as I typically stream between Wednesdays and Saturdays. Sundays, this is just like a stream that I just felt like doing. So, TPM 2.0 upsets me. I have an autistic nephew who is obsessed with COD, lives 4 hours away from me. Explaining over a video call to disable... yes, I could understand, Casey, because they could easily hit the wrong thing. And if they do, that it could completely throw everything around in OS. Now, it sucks, too, because you would hope you can do something remotely. I thought about this the other day. Wouldn't it be nice that you can do something remotely on a BIOS level? Now, we all know you can do it through like the OS level. You can easily do it as long as if you're logged in and be able to do it through the OS. But it would be even nicer if there's a way we can remotely help somebody, especially if you're at a BIOS level, because then you could be able to do something that's for somebody that's like 4 hours away. That would be great. Yeah, I would. Oh, thanks, Micah. I appreciate it. Welcome coming in, by the way. Yeah, so yeah, that sounds like a situation. You know what I would do, just in case. Thanks, Will Baggins. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate it. Now I do have to say, in your case, is there anybody else besides your nephew there, maybe that can help you out? But he might freak out. I know that could be the case. I'm building a 5090 with a 9800 X3D. Have always been console on PS5 Pro, still for another week or so until the build is done. So, Slim Shady, I gotta ask you. So with the PS5 Pro, what are your plans? Are you planning on keeping it? Are you planning on selling it? What is your thoughts? Because I do remember you said you wanted to also use it for 3D design and everything too. So I'm curious if you have any need for PS5. But because the reason why I asked is because I have a PlayStation 5 And mainly, I got it for the channel originally, but the titles have just been like so dead for the most part, like that everything Sony has been coming out with. Sure, they have some great titles that have been released, such as like Spider-Man 2 has been a great title. I hopped on Final Fantasy 16 as soon as that was released, but it seems like there wasn't as many launch titles that released on PS5, and then it's going to end up on Steam anyway. Most of the titles do end up on Steam anyway. So, well, I missed 40 minutes. It's alright, Takuma. Well, I also warned him about the BIOS update. It can brick a PC and warned him. No, my wife's side of the family has... So yeah, that's even more scary, right? Can you imagine? Oh, do I hit this? Format the whole drive? So I want to future-proof my new build, but I'm struggling between the Intel ARGB 580 and the 9060 XT. Personally for me, and I'm sure most people would agree, is go 9060 XT 16 gigs. That's definitely the way to go. You won't be disappointed. AMD is phenomenal, especially this generation. So Slim Shady says keeping it as a backup for the PC isn't cooperating. So also I get you. I don't know if I should go for a Ryzen CPU or an Intel, but Intel CPUs are problematic. That's a great question, Mika, because if you really want to compare like AMD and Intel, now it depends on your usage. Let me know what you're using your PC for. If you're going to be using it for gaming specifically, I feel that you would be you'll be happy with a AMD processor. If you're going to be using it for things like photo editing, like if you're planning to do that, or if you're planning to do things like video editing, then Intel does have a slight advantage on that side. Now, Intel processors are a bit problematic. I talked about it a little bit earlier in the stream where if you do go Intel, now just know the 13th and 14th generation have a problem when it comes to overvolting. You're going to have to update the BIOS more than likely if you choose to go that generation. And plus, Intel decided to mark up the pricing on anything between the 12th to the 14th generation because, well, it's outselling their current processor, which is on the 15th generation now, which is Alder Lake. Not Alder Lake, it's I always forget their name. But anyway, it's Comet Lake, I think. But on the 15th generation, anyway, no, Arrow Lake, that's what it is. 15th generation, it's not selling as well. And because it's not selling as well, they're trying to make it more appealing by the pricing, but it doesn't perform as well. It has more efficiency, but it doesn't have the performance between their processors of the 12th and 14th gen. So you can see why Intel has such an issue with the processor side recently, and it's because it is quite a mess. Now, on the AMD side, it's a bit more cut and clear to where if you want to game on a AMD processor, you can simply pick up any of the, say, 9700X, or you could go 9600X3D when that eventually releases, because that's going to be a very affordable processor, and the motherboards are also can also fit your budget very well, more than likely if you're into the gaming side. Now, I have a PS4 Pro that's currently building up thus. So there are a few games that are only PS4 only, but I never play those games. Oh man, what kind of games are they? I'm pretty sure they're probably some, I bet they're great games too. The other problem when he had oh, Casey, BitLocker, huh? Oh, that's a case. Oh, that's the worst. If BitLocker was enabled. That's like the whole thing. If anybody's not familiar with BitLocker, what that is it's an encryption. So like so you practically encrypted his PC. So if you're gaming, it's all about allocating more budget for GPU than CPU. Absolutely. So, but also creating IE. 1080p gaming isn't difficult. It can be done with the 12100 F or a 5600 and it's 60. Absolutely. Simply Takuma, I have swapped the hard drives on my PS4 Pro. I have installed SATA 3 drives and our loading times are super fast. Did the same thing on my Xbox One. It's funny too because I almost forgot all about that. Remember, Wasabi brought up a good point because when it came to PS3, everything was based off a hard drive, and that was like around the time when solid state was just coming out with their SATA version. And when people were switching it over, it was just like an incredible difference for a console such as PS3 or for Xbox. Now, it is now confirmed that 16th gen Intel processors are compatible with it's still not really clear about that. It's like they kind of ignored this. Most things that I've been seeing from what I've seen is the whole Panther Lake. And they've been talking about Panther Lake. They keep talking about the 18A, which is going to be next year. But for this year, they haven't really spoke on behalf of anything. If you have any new knowledge on it, I would love to know, because I've just been seeing more Panther Lake excitement more than anything. What's up, Alex? Good to see you. Casey, well, yeah, no problem. I'm planning to buy my parts around Black Friday. Any good spots? Okay. So where are you located, by the way, country-wise? Are you based in, I'm assuming you're based in the U.S. because you said Black Friday. If you're in the U.S., best places to go is certainly Micro Center. Micro Center is definitely a place you would like to go on Black Friday. And Best Buy's a decent place, but it's not as good as it used to be. It's almost like they like to carry last year's products. So I would say go to Micro Center if you're going for Black Friday. Now, if you're going online shopping, you can go through Amazon, through Newegg, and I will certainly put up the deals on the YouTube page, and I will let you know. Maybe we could go live on Black Friday and certainly do it, and could share some great deals you can get, especially for, you're going to see some great deals, I'd say, for Intel's current generation, which is like the 265K. You could probably get a really good deal on it with a motherboard and some RAM, especially at Micro Center. And you could get a good deal. You're probably not going to get a deal on the 9600 X3D when that releases, but you can get a deal on a motherboard, and you can get a deal on RAM. There's going to be a lot of components will be a lot cheaper besides, and GPUs will actually be below MSRP for certain. Because they're going to be trying to clear their inventory for the next generation of, not really next generation, but the new reiteration of GPUs. So I could say, never forget Ronnie. Wasn't that funny? Ronnie was just like, he's like F Best Buy, and he's like, please don't put that in there. He's like, I actually like Best Buy. So I had Xbox One laying around. I paid $100 for it 2 years ago. It's been repurposed into an emulation machine and entertainment dev. Only allows Kodi. It's in my son's bedroom. That's awesome, though. You could really easily recycle a lot of these like older consoles into just like what Casey did. That's a great idea, into an entertainment machine, because that's what you could. It's like a media box practically. So I only know that Intel wished to work with AMD and Apple. Yes. Oh, okay. Clockman, IGPUs means integrated graphics processing unit. Sorry I missed that. Bud. I'm glad Casey caught that. I'm probably gonna be forced to do some online shopping. Last time I went to Black Friday shopping, it was super packed. Yeah, absolutely. I don't really personally like going out to the store. I would you know what though? I would just stream it for you guys personally if we end up going out on a Black Friday. That would be pretty funny, right? But I can say we can definitely go like live. We'll definitely search for some great deals. Now, the funny thing is, like, when they say like at Black Friday, it doesn't have to be specifically automatically you assume early in the morning. You have to go Black Friday shopping early in the morning. Most of the deals end up starting like around Thanksgiving anyway, like when it comes to online shopping, and then it goes into throughout the whole weekend. It doesn't just end on one day, because retailers try to sell that day as the day to purchase everything, but it's going to be throughout the whole weekend, plus you have Cyber Monday. So but I can say I'm really excited to see what type of deals that will be held, especially from when it comes to the NVIDIA and AMD side. I'm certain that we're going to see some great deals on some GPUs, because they're going to of course, release their new supers eventually, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be at CES. It would be a nice surprise if they did. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm only thinking between the 2 dates when NVIDIA does release the super, which is going to be based on their GTC Summit, which is in March, or it's going to be based in Computex 2026, which is going to be in May. So it's going to be either one of those events that NVIDIA will mention their supers. And to update everybody, if you don't know about what NVIDIA's plans are currently with their headquarters in Taiwan, they're planning to build a plant there. They mentioned in Computex 2026, like one of their main facilities was going to be in Taiwan. But unfortunately, there's a lot of red tape that is currently going on in Taiwan because the bank is not giving or fronting them the money unless they actually showed the progress first. So they're like, how can we show real progress if we don't have the facility yet? So right now it's currently on hold. Hopefully they figure it out. So there's an issue for that right now. So I am also watching in the Amazon Prime days that are soon. Yes, absolutely, Lee and Lee. I'll tell you what though, there's definitely going to be some great deals coming up, and I can't wait to share them. Once the deals are live, I will certainly push it out there. So yeah, Black Friday shopping means last year's models, TVs are heavily discounted. However, nobody wants that anymore. Discount group. They never, you know what's funny? They never discount groceries. They'll discount everything electronic wise and clothes, but they won't sell anything else like really on a discount. And the crazy part is Black Friday can really get wild because you'll have people fist fight over for 2 for $5 towels or something. So Alex says in the UK we have Curry's PC World. It's like Best Buy but way more scammy and worse value for the money on pre-builds, but parts are fine but just too expensive. Oh, I can see that. It always sucks to have a retailer where you know that you can't really trust. And I'm sure like everybody has experienced it before where they had a PC hardware store where it's like a smaller shop. There used to be a lot more smaller PC hardware shops you could really go to and purchase items from, but it's not really the case anymore. You just have to trust the big box retailers to really have the items that you're looking for. But on the NVIDIA side, we can certainly expect the supers to be released then. And for AMD, I'm hoping, and we're all hoping for this, the whole rumor with RDNA 5 that they announced like a high-end version of an AMD card, because people will go crazy for it, especially if AMD releases some sort of Founders Edition. So, what's up, Trion? Hi, I'm looking to buy a Gigabyte Worst Master Ice 5080 for $1150. For gaming, streaming, recording, and editing, should I buy now or wait for the supers? Now, Trion, I do have to ask you, are you upgrading or building? Now, if you are upgrading, you could always wait for the supers, but you're more than likely going to have to wait like a full year before you do. And meaning like, if they just say worst case scenario, NVIDIA releases it on Computex 2026, which is in May. They sell the product, more than likely it'll be in July. If you're really lucky, you can get it in August. Now, there's going to be people that's going to buy it and scalp it, and realistically, it won't really truly be in stock for the public like until maybe October. So, like a full year, you would have to wait. But if you can wait for that amount of VRAM that we all expected to be announced with the 5080 Super, which is going to be 24 gigabytes, everybody knows that it's going to be 24 gigabytes, then you can certainly wait for it, especially if you're more into 4K gaming. Now, if you're currently building and you just want a PC like now, like you really need a PC, then 5080's worth getting. Or even better yet, you can get the 5080, and then afterwards, when the 5080 Super does come out, you can always... Now, I'm not saying, because this mistake has happened before, where people sell it 2 months before or a month before its actual release, and then they're out. They're SOL that they have a 5080 Super to purchase. So wait to get the 5080 Super in hand, and then you can always sell the 5080. And that's also another option too. So I can't wait to check out for the good deals. I've subbed and I'll join your Discord server. Back to college essays. Good luck. Good luck, Mika. I wish you a lot of luck on it. But thank you for joining the Discord server. Really do appreciate it. Building, I have a Ryzen 7 7700, but no GPU. Yeah, you might as well just get, at that point, you might as well just get the 5080. My German friend bought the Lian Li 011 Dynamic Mini version 2 case. I was happy that he finally got a premium case. That's a wonderful case. That's a nice ass case. 1440p, by the way. Okay, so if you're gaming 1440p, you could honestly get away with a 9070 XT. You'd be perfectly happy with that, which is AMD, or even a 5070 Ti would even do. 5070 Ti or 5080, I think you would be great with it. Sure, I'd get a really cheap GPU for now, and then I'd get the Super. Yeah, that's always the option. Or you could just go ahead and get the 5070 Ti, and then if you choose to upgrade in the future, you could always you could always sell it, because there's always going to be a market for people purchasing a 5070 Ti, or especially if you go for a 5080. Now, going back onto the topic about Intel, I do have to say that there is, right now with Panther Lake, this is the biggest interest, I gotta say, about it, is that it does have the new generation of their new tech, which is going to be XeSS3. And it's going to have up to 12 GPU cores, and it's supposed to have up to 16 cores. And so far it sounds promising, but I'm just curious about the whole performance side. And it's funny too, because you know we got actually brought back out to mention, which is the whole thing with ASRock and their Taichi motherboards, the X870Es. Their X870Es are the ones that have some serious issues about burning their CPUs, and it just recently grabbed the attention of some online news outlets about how you have this one guy, which I mentioned him before. He bought this wonderful X870E Taichi motherboard, installed the processor into it, the 9800 X3D, which again, all perfect components well together, and eventually burned out his CPU. And at first, ASRock was pointing fingers and said, hey, this is going to be all on AMD. This is AMD's fault for this. AMD did the research and says it has nothing to do with us. And why is that only happening on your motherboards? So then ASRock actually started to say, okay, maybe it is us. So they researched it and said, oh yeah, it's us. So we have a new BIOS update. We were overvolting the 9800 X3D too much. So they came out with all these BIOS updates. They came out with like at least 3 or 4, at least. And eventually, they felt that the problem was fixed. And then months later down the line, the same guy, he got his motherboard replaced. He got his CPU replaced. He ended up doing the same install practically, and it burns out again. The same motherboard, the same CPU, and he contacts him, and he has to send it back in and starts all over. Now he regrets purchasing it. Now it's making big. Now that news is making bigger waves, and it's funny because we were just talking about how ASRock now has the extended warranty on their motherboards, specifically in Japan, about it, which is hilarious, by the way. So the RX 9070 XT and the RTX 5070 Ti are very good for 1440p, but the question is 1344. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Yeah, I'm scared that the AI market will gobble up the supers. So when Panther Lakes come out, what is the next generation of names? So after Panther Lake, it's Coyote Lake, which is I know another odd one. I think it's Coyote Lake, and they do have another one. I think Wolf Lake, and something like that. And they're starting to name animals. Yo, can you explain how much power your motherboard? It depends. It all depends how much. Depends on what type of motherboard you have. Jaguar, Jaguar Lake or Puma Lake. How about just like you know what? Let's bring up Wood Lake. How about Wood Lake or Mahogany Lake? That would be pretty funny, right? It'll go with the whole new wooden motherboards. Which you know what? Should I bring it up? Should I bring it up, Takuma? Should I bring up the new wooden case? Takuma Jack X870E. Okay, so you have an X870E motherboard, and what else? What are your specifications? What are you trying to build? What are you looking for your power supply? How much power you need for your total build, is it? Okay, so you don't want to, okay, so I shouldn't share that build. Nobody wants to see that wooden case. Another day went by and Gigabyte still. Okay, so another day went by and Gigabyte still hasn't placed the X3D's motherboards in the Europe. Wasabi, do I hear that? Do I hear that wallet open? It sounds like you're kind of interested in getting that motherboard. I got to tell you, I've been looking around. I was specifically looking out for the blacked out X3D Elite, not Elite, the X3D Aorus Master motherboard. And I thought we saw it the first day, right? But I can't find it. I only see the Ice Edition. So just upgraded from the ARGB 580 to the 7800. Oh yeah, 100%. You're gonna see a big difference. It's like night and day, especially if you go from the B580 to the 7800 XTD. I bet you're loving it. And you know what's really good too about AMD is even though you have, like, say, the 7000 series and they have their new FSR4 and they have their new technology for their GPUs, that you still can get to experience it on the 7000 series or even prior models, which is nice. And usually NVIDIA kind of, it kind of makes sense for NVIDIA for the whole frame generation part because they didn't have the capability besides the RTX 4090 to do it. Now, I'm curious to see what way that NVIDIA will go, especially for the 60 series, if they're going to focus more on frame generation or if they're going to focus more on path tracing, because I have a very good feeling, because when you think about it, right, they already canceled the line of the GTX. That GTX is pretty much gone, that they're not updating it. Now everything's RTX line. I'm pretty confident, and it just seems right. And I feel everybody probably has the same exact feeling that when they come out with this whole new 6090, if it's going to be called it's going to be called 6090, but I can't say it's going to be the RTX 6090. I feel like they're going to change up the name. Instead, it's going to be like the PTX or maybe the AITX or whatever it is. But it's going to be a whole different name scheme, and they're obviously going to be focused on something different. So, I should I get the yeah, I know he is. So, I don't know it though. I just want to see it on Amazon. I built it. I'm curious if I did it right. The 3500X Corsair case, 9070 XT, 7800 X3D. Yeah, all your parts, that's all good. 850 watts is perfect. That's actually the perfect amount right there. You actually picked out the right one. If you said 750, then I'd be like, I hate to break it to you. You gotta swap out the power supply. This is over 2 years, by the way. Oh, okay. So I play at 1440p, my ASUS ROG OLED monitor, so to have this performance boost, my CPU Ryzen 5 7600X even feels like a performance. It is also quicker now. Now, Takuma, I can't just justify another motherboard. I have already two B650s. Buying another one would be a stupid purchase. That's what we all say, right? Should I buy a B850E Aorus Elite? It's going to be on sale. So I was looking at the CPU this morning and to build a M-ATX test bench. And I went with Ryzen 5 7600X. I'm so confused at Zen 3. And I haven't bought a CPU since my last little FX 350 build blanc. Oh, that's going to be crazy. Well, the RX 9070 XT needs to recommend a 50 watt PSU, so yeah, definitely. Absolutely. PTX 8 iMax 9090 Ti super duper pooper 500 and 12 gigabytes. But that's an excellent combo. It is. The only reason I'm asking is because Fortnite, my FPS just tanks lower. So you're going to, so you're having problems with your FPS. Like how much is it tanking with your current build? You're having issues. So that's funny though. I'm up with Ryzen 5 76. I'm assuming V73. I've been playing. Yeah, I know. That's a long time. The FX 8350. That's quite the difference of a CPU. It's crazy because that's like right when AMD was like on their downfall turn, the whole FX side, which is insane. But AMD has made quite the turnaround since then. Now that you got their newer Ryzen processors, it's going to be quite the difference. You're going to see how amazing it is. I'll test it right now. Sounds good. So should I get a Ryzen 9 9700X or a Ryzen 7800X? Now, I would say go 7800X 3D, especially if you're using it for gaming. 9700X, it's not going to be that much of a difference. You could take a lot more usage out the 7800X 3D. What's up, Egyptian Savage? Good to see you. Welcome in. So 5070 Ti or the 9070 XT? What's your opinion? I have 850 watt. Yes. Did you update the graphics card driver? I didn't. Okay. So that is a good point. So if anybody ever has issues when it comes to graphics wise, just make sure to check if there is an update on your GPU that can make a big difference. Even having a Windows update can kind of affect it. But be wary with the current Windows updates. There's been like current different issues that's been going on with some of them. I know that the current issues with Windows right now is that apparently people are having weird issues with like reboot issues, or they're having issues of missing memory files off their storage. So, but anyway, just make sure to update your drivers. That's always the most important factor. Not just your GPU drivers, but also install the drivers for what you have for your motherboard. And I missed that one. Also, make sure to install the drivers for your motherboard, and also install the drivers that are for practically your system. And another thing that is underrated that is brought up, Takuma just made me think about this, is there are also updates for your BIOS when it comes to your GPU. And that can be easily checked by your manufacturer. So if you have, say, a Gigabyte GPU, just go to Gigabyte's control center, and then you can see that if there's an update for the actual GPU BIOS. So, Ryan says, should I eat my words now or wait until I'm on this ship? I would say wait. You know, Oreos came out with this new one which is pretty interesting. It's Oreos and Reese's put together, and so far the taste is quite interesting, I gotta say. So if anybody is curious about it, definitely try it out. I feel either AM5 or B650 chips is a bit unreliable. I had RAM related issues, firmware issues on 2 different MSI B650. You know, I gotta say, that since Denise brought this up, I can say, like, when it came to this, when it came with their B650s and AM5, it would take a little bit longer for the memory code to pass through. Not like the newer B850s or the new X870Es. I can say that 650s would take a bit longer, but because it would have to go through, usually when the BIOS starts up a PC, it's going to, or when you start up the PC, the BIOS does its check to see if there's any issues. So the memory check would actually stay on for a good long period, especially on the 600, like the B650s and the X670Es. But it certainly improved since the 850s, like I mentioned. And it's more or so, I gotta say, like when it comes to the whole DDR5 side, it's been like really weird with that whole generation of DDR5 for the most part. So I feel like when they come out with the next generation, I think it's certainly going to improve on a lot of those standards. I think it has to do more with the timing. It's a lot more, it's a lot different compared to what DDR4 was. And so, weird question. What eggs do you like and how? Takuma says, what the? So when it comes to eggs, personally, I like it over easy, or I like it scrambled, or soft boiled. That's how I usually like my eggs. I don't like it I don't like the yolk too dense. So yeah, I have the Adrenaline software, and it says everything is good. So I don't like MSI boards. I like gigabytes. So let's see. Status, just checked update, checked 10.5, 25. Haven't used MSI since Tomahawk B450. So that's normal when fans are revving up. It says that CPU is working to load up the game. Yeah, typically GPUs will do that. Now, should a 9800 X3D should be only used on a X series board? Now, you mean like the XE? Now, you don't have to use it on it. You mean like if you're using it on a B850E or something? It doesn't have to be. It would be nice because you can take full advantage of it. The only difference is when it comes to the X670E or something, or the X8, or like the X870E, you can get the full capabilities. You can take full advantage of the different lanes on the motherboard, or you can take full advantage of the capabilities that the processor can give you, like more USB ports, more express lanes. It's just an additional feature you can get if you choose to go that direction. So I've gotten into road cycling. Oh, nice. That's big here too, Alex. So I had boot issues, but I'm having USB and Bluetooth errors, and apparently solved it with plugging everything off and turning. Yeah, sometimes they'll do that. Like if you have anything USB wise like plugged into your PC, sometimes your PC might not even boot up. I actually brought this topic up on one of my videos, that if certain USBs or a certain type of drivers on USBs can prevent your PC from starting up, which is a bit odd. But if you unplug it, it does resolve those type of issues. I'm glad you got that figured out. Graphics on high preset is about averages 100, but the 9070 XT should be higher. So check your, I would check your monitor, check your refresh rate, and or check if you have like VSync on or something, because it sounds like you have a setting that's on that's locking it at 100. It's not allowing it to go past 100. So do you think 850 boards are more reliable than 650? Absolutely. I think 850 has been a lot more reliable compared to 650s. Now 650s are great. They have no real issues. It's just that when it comes to the whole memory side, it is a bit more finicky compared to like the 850s are. My dad upgrading his car. He wants a Porsche, but my mom is telling him to get M4 compatible. Oh, okay. So between those two, upgrading and wants a Porsche, but I would say go Porsche. 100% go Porsche. Yes, I would agree. Porsche. What would your choice be for SSD in gaming for a PC 59? So I would say go 990 Pro. You'd be perfectly happy with it, and you could get it for quite a great deal. You could get them for like just around like $140, $150 for a 2 terabyte version. You could get a 4 terabyte version for even more if you want, but Samsung 990 will certainly fulfill your needs. Now, so you have 180 hertz sync on. Okay. So it sounds like I would check into your Fortnite settings just to make sure that the setting is off in there where it says VSync. Make sure VSync is off. I have Aorus B650 Elite AX V2 and a 7600X with a board for the next Ryzen, such as Ryzen 7. Okay, so that's either way, that board will certainly be able to handle it. It doesn't matter, it's still the same socket. As long as if it's AM5, you'll be good to go. Whether you have any of, like, you could have the oldest B650 or the oldest X670E, doesn't matter, it's still going to translate over to the new Zen 6 when AMD does release it. So a resolution of monitor you're playing. FreeSync or on or off. You want FreeSync on. That's what you want. FreeSync is, you need that. Now FreeSync is like AMD's version of like G-Sync. And if you leave that on, what that'll do is that it will prevent any type of ghosting, stutter, any type of really type of like input lag, so to say, like when you're gaming. So I got my Ryzen 7 7700 for $204 in October last year. Wish I would have waited because the 7800 X3D is $260. Yeah, it's crazy because like certain items you can certainly expect a price increase. Now, I do have to say this, anybody who is on a prior generation, if you're on Ryzen 5, not Ryzen 5, if you're on Ryzen 5000 series, or if you're on Ryzen 3000 series, expect the pricing for the RAM to go up, especially for DDR4. The cost is going to be quite up because they're charging more for their for not the drivers, but they're charging more for their DRAM practically. And the same with DDR5 eventually. But right now, DDR4, I know, is going to get hit hard. And when they do, it's going to cost a lot more to have an older build, unfortunately, if you do plan to upgrade your RAM. So if anybody out there has a system still in that generation, it's a good idea to probably get the RAM quick as you can before it starts going up in price. And they're going to stop producing it, which is going to, again, make the price even go up even more. And when they do, then once you go to DDR5, it's going to be a lot cheaper for anyone who is planning to upgrade. So there is something in me I don't understand. I got a 5080 and a 9800 XTD, but ASUS K53E 2010 laptop with an Intel Pentium. Yeah, that's a very interesting mix, I have to say, for I gotta say, for the most part. So last question: when I play Fortnite, my peripherals disconnect in game and multiple times. It's really weird. So if your peripherals disconnect multiple times, more than likely there's going to be, maybe is your Bluetooth not intact? Is it you're playing through Bluetooth? Or is it just your like keyboard and mouse? Are you a keyboard and mouse guy? And it depends, are you playing it wirelessly? Or are you playing it wired? Now the RX 9070 XT card is not very good at ultra preset in Fortnite. Try high or medium on the game's graphics setting. Yeah, try it. That's a good point. Try to go lower and see if you can exceed over 100. If you can, then that could be the case. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but next month I am moving to my own place. I found a nice place. Oh, congratulations. Yes. That's going to be awesome. Congratulations to Wasabi for that. I'd say everybody got to congratulate them. It's going to be quite different, especially when you're in your own place. You're going to love it, and you're going to practically feel like you can do anything you want to do. Especially stream. I'm going to love it once you do it. And let me know. Definitely could collab one of these days. Controller, mouse, and headset. Okay, and are they all wireless? Sounds like a motherboard issue. Maybe the BIOS is not updated. Okay. So it sounds like it's quite a few. What GPU do I have in the background? That's the Gigabyte Aorus Master RTX 5090. It's quite a wonderful GPU, I gotta say. It's been great, quiet. It's not loud at all. Now, but it's just for the just for the game. So it's all wired. Okay. So if it's all wired, then the case is then more than likely it's probably going to be a good idea for you to go ahead and look to see if there's any drivers for your motherboards. If everything is up to date on your motherboard, then go ahead and make sure to see if there's a BIOS update, and that can be easily done. Remind me your motherboard again, and there I'll tell you exactly what you can do. Or in fact, you could look up my videos. My more recent videos, in fact, show you how you can update your motherboard, and more than likely that's probably the direction you want to go. So I'm going to miss some of your streams. That's okay. It's okay, Wasabi. I know life comes up first, but I do appreciate you always coming in, as always. So Fortnite is way easier than COD to run anything. 9070 XT, 7800 gets 190. Yeah, that's what I would figure. You can easily be able to get 190 over. Because I can say for sure, I remember getting Doom Dark Ages, you could go over 100 easy. So it's there's something off in the system for certain. Something's not connected, right, so to say. No frame generation or any AI, it's all native. Where you X870. So still in Florence, I found a nice part. What type of X870 is it? So again, like, you could go ahead and go into my videos as I posted them on how to update your BIOS, and if you do that, you can certainly get an improvement if you do so. But if you want to make sure, just make sure that all your connections are in correctly. Shut off your PC when you do, and take off your panel, and just make sure that everything is nice and secured inside of your PC. If it's nice and secured, then you should be okay. But check all your power connections, everything connected from the power supply, because it could easily be something loose. It sounds like there's something off. So maybe in the game settings you are set at 100. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I thought, Egyptian. I feel like it's something in your settings. You're locking in 100 frames. Because if you have VSync, remember, VSync is different than FreeSync. If you see VSync is enabled, you want to make sure that's off. But if you see FreeSync, you want to make sure you have that on. Also, you want to make sure to have make sure it says the monitor that is, if you have two displays, make sure it's on the correct display that it's producing the graphics for it. And also you want to make sure that what else? Make sure it's not set into like any NVIDIA settings, because of course you have an AMD card, so you want to make sure that all AMD settings are on. Also, I would have to look at the Fortnite settings, because I feel like there's something on there that you have on that's preventing your GPU to go forward, because it sounds like 100 is your stop point. And the way to really know is to set your graphics into like medium and see if it still does the same thing. If it does, there's a setting that's preventing you from going forward. So I switched from the low settings, and it averages about 165 above, but stutters really bad right now. So it stutters. Okay, so I feel like you sound like you have like some sort of driver issue, or do you have any other type of load that's inside of your PC? Check if I would go into like hardware monitor, which is, I recommend everyone to download, and see if there's any extra load, or even go to the you could even go to, what's it called? You can check your process commands, or check your task manager. If you check your task manager, then you can see what is being utilized in your PC, because it sounds like there's something in your PC that's taking up some sort of space. So I would recommend check the motherboard, update your BIOS, then afterwards DDU, wipe the graphics card driver completely from your system, and then reinstall the GPU driver. Yeah, I would say that's some great steps to take up, but I'm pretty sure you have potential in your system. There's just something there that's preventing you from getting your full maximum capabilities of your PC, because I'm certain you can get much, much more. Yeah, you're going to, in order to get there, you're just going to right click your Windows, right click the Windows button, and you're going to go to your device manager. That's what it is. Not device manager. What am I saying? Go to your task manager. And when you go to your task manager, you're going to go over to you're going to look up on the top and see what is being used up. You're going to see CPU usage, memory usage. You could also even add like your GPU usage. Well, more than likely, there's something that's being taken up your space in order for you to enjoy your full maximum potential. And there you go. Try shutting off Razer and see if that does it. It could be Razer. And that's the thing. It could be like Razer Synapse, or sometimes that can really take up some space. You'd be surprised. There's certain apps you would think that would really help your system, especially like because it controls, like say your RGBs or something. It could actually prevent you really experiencing great FPS. Yeah, it's funny because it's something simple like that. That's why I hate them. Okay, maybe deinstall the software. Yes, you want to get that out of there. You don't need that on there. Believe me. That's just. It's not going to be great to keep something like Razer on there, end up just like eating up space more than anything. So, now on the other side of things, now we do know that I know Acer, right? We were just talking about them the other day. Acer is actually coming out with their own version of a RTX, RX 9070 Ti. Not 9070 XT. I said Ti. 9070 XT. They're coming out with a white version of it. So if anyone is looking for a white version GPU of a AMD card, Acer is coming out with it. It's going to be the Predator edition, but I don't know how the demand's going to look for it. When the time for building the white build, I will need to rely on your assistance for upgrading the BIOS. Yeah, certainly. We can do it. We can certainly do it. Also, speaking of, I just had something on my mind about that too. So with the whole thing with not just the graphics card, there is something else I wanted to mention to you guys. Let me see. I gotta refresh my memory here. Besides that, there is, what was it? It'll come back to me. So I might be stupid, but how do you uninstall apps? So all you have to do is you're gonna right-click the Windows icon, and when you right-click it, you're gonna go over to the installed apps. It's gonna be the very top one. Once you do, and then you can uninstall any of your apps there. And after you uninstall it, don't just uninstall it, but just reboot your PC as well. If you reboot your PC, then it kind of clears your system of anything just to make sure, and then go on Fortnite to see if you get better frames out of it. But yeah, a lot of those programs could really be a lot more, take up a lot more RAM than you think. Same thing with the CPU usage. You'd be surprised how much Razer can take up. Corsair can do the same thing. I know ASUS does the same thing. There's quite a bit of different programs out there, especially when they're well over like 2 gigabytes. You just expect it to end up doing more lag to your system more than anything. What do you think is the future for Intel Battle Mage, especially for the purchase shares from NVIDIA? I don't think they're going to touch on it. I don't think NVIDIA wants to do anything with Intel's graphics department, and Intel already said themselves that NVIDIA is not going to touch it. I believe that they are still going to continue their whole Battle Mage series, that they're not just going to stop it just because they're paired up with NVIDIA. Instead, NVIDIA and the Intel collab is more or so focused on SoCs and doing things like more like laptops and handhelds, but not really anything else besides that. Eventually, it's funny because I always feel like NVIDIA always wanted to get into the CPU space. They kind of did a little bit when it came to the ARMS processor that they originally had a project on, that they were working with Broadcom. And was it Broadcom? I think it was Broadcom. And you don't really hear too much about it. But this whole combination with Intel, you can expect more SoCs come out with something like say like the next generation of like ASUS ROG handhelds, or the next generation when it comes to laptops, and they're looking for better battery efficiency, better usage of when it comes to graphics, how it handles graphics, instead of using two different components inside of a laptop. So show that on live stream. Do you think show that on live stream with an example maybe? Oh, you mean like doing it like uninstalling? Sure, I can do it on a live stream for sure. For certain APUs then need to worry. Exactly. That's what they asked AMD, and AMD practically kind of shrugged it off and said, hey, we're not really worried about it. We're pretty confident that our product is going to hold up. And it sounds like AMD does have something up their sleeves. They said that they're going to actually still be very competitive, that what they have will surprise everybody. So it sounds promising. And when AMD says it, it usually is. It's just the only bad part about AMD is they're not very good when it comes to timing. I feel like when they do things, it's either, it's most of the time it's like too late by the time for them to do something about it. Does your channel? Yes, it does have a Discord. It's you can go into the Discord channel. It's right down into the description box down below. In fact, I almost forgot all about this command. You can type it in. Anybody can type in the command, which is !Discord, and should be able to pop up there. I hope it doesn't. Of course, when I type it in, it's gonna go crazy, but hopefully it worked. It kind of looks spammy the way it like a post up there, but yeah, that's the Discord channel, and you're more than welcome to join it. Anybody is. And all you have to do is go into the rules side, and after you go to the rules side, click that you hit the green check mark, and that brings you into the Discord channel. Yeah, I certainly do think so. Again, there's a lot of mention of RDNA 5, and I'm really excited to see what this whole Ryzen next generation brings up, because I feel like we're almost into that next phase to where we can start expecting a change in hardware soon. I know for certain once they start talking AM6, and once Intel moves into the new maybe 18A even, we could start seeing things like DDR6. PCI Express 6, I know they promised we wouldn't see it till 2029, but I think that's BS. I think we'll end up seeing it more sooner than we realize, because they're going to be highly competitive against each other. So until I know, right? And that's the thing. ASRock just knows how to. They know how to certainly bring a show up. So I think you were referring to the BIOS of the B650E. So, family guys, I will. If anything, I will go on a little bit later. Just got a couple things to take care of. But I thank everybody for coming into the live stream, and hopefully I see you guys later today. Thank you guys for everybody for coming in. Really appreciate you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this this bonus live stream I decided to do today, and hopefully I'll hop on a little bit later. Certainly, I'll get back to you on the Discord chat, and we'll certainly talk on there. I'll be able to do a couple things while helping you out here. So I'll be more than likely, I won't leave it running the live stream, but instead I'll just start up another live stream. It'll be better that way. But hopefully I see you guys on soon, and thank you guys all for coming in and asking questions about PC builds. And if anyone has any more questions or wants to make sure to join into the live stream, make sure to like and to subscribe down in the bottom right down below. Thanks so much, everybody. Much love to the fan bam.